good afternoon, everyone. I'm joined today by Jose Silva, a dive instructor. I know in Padi you have different levels of
Different
instructors.
ratings,
Like,
yes.
what is your rating?
I'm a master scuba diver trainer.
Master. That's one of the highest there is, right?
There's a few more that are higher. Yeah.
If you are familiar with scuba diving, there should be a lot in here that you're that's familiar to you. And if you've never scuba dived before, maybe there'll be something said today that kind of inspires you to go for either a resort dive or get your open water certification and try becoming a scuba diver. Well, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's pretty casual,
Cool. Yeah.
no pressure. Just gonna do whatever.
I like casual. Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I do. What I do.
Well, so you've been diving for a long time,
I've been diving for 30 years,
and then you've been
and I've
like
been
working professionally.
and I've been a professional instructor for about 21 years.
The other day, you told me approximately how many dives you've done and how many people you certified.
Yeah. I mean, I know I have over 1,100 certifications that I've issued, and I probably have about 12,000 dives.
That's a lot, by the way.
That's a lot of diving.
I think I'm maybe at 150,
Yeah.
which seems like a lot from my perspective.
It is a lot when you're having to pay for them.
You know, but nothing compared to a real professional here. Has the majority of your work as a professional diver, has it been as an instructor, or have you been doing like other kinds of pro dive work?
No, mostly as an instructor, and then I've had a couple years here and there that I did mostly photography and videography on the water. So I stopped teaching for a little while. Yeah.
And never do some like ship maintenance or pipe maintenance or anything like that?
No commercial diving, no kind of industrial setting. Yeah. It's mostly recreational, dealing with tourism.
Okay. What are some of the countries that you've worked in?
I worked in Spain. I worked in Egypt. I worked in Israel, Tanzania, Kenya, Malawi, Mozambique, Malaysia, Thailand, Indonesia, Costa Rica, Panama, Honduras, Mexico, and the United States.
And of all those locations, I bet some have better working conditions, maybe some have better diving conditions. Like, what are the highlights for you?
I mean, at the end of the day is, the diving. I mean, I do what I do because I love to go diving. Yeah. So to me, there's certain places is, the quality of the diving has a lot to do with it. Yeah. So Indonesia, Malaysia were fantastic, the diving. Yeah. The diving in the Caribbean is very rewarding, good conditions most of the year. The Red Sea, fantastic. Yeah. Diving. I mean, everywhere I worked that I chose to work is because it was good in a way or the other. Yeah.
And where are we now? What is this place?
We are in next to the Black Rock dive site in Maui, Hawaii. Yeah, at the Sheraton Resort.
And how long have you been working here?
I've been at this shop for about a year and a half right now. But I started working and being involved with them, with the company, probably about 5 years ago. Yeah, longer, yeah.
When you're working as a dive instructor, when you're kind of getting bored of, I assume you're getting bored of one location, you're ready, that's when you start looking for another place to go?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I did back when I started diving. The whole point of getting into, becoming a dive instructor was so I could travel. Yeah, I could travel, I could, go work different, countries. So that's what I did, I did every 6 months, every year. I already had a plan to go to a new place. Yeah. Now I'm settled in Hawaii. So, now I'm here permanently.
Oh, permanently?
Yeah.
That's a kind of a bold statement to make, though.
Yeah. You never know what things will change, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, now I go diving when I'm on vacation. Yeah, if I want to take vacation, I go somewhere else. I go diving, I get my fix, and I come back, and I work.
When you go, as a professional diver, when you go diving in other locations, do you just rent your own tank and go, or do you like sign up for a tour?
All depends. I mean, if you need a boat to get there, you have to go with somebody. Yeah. Luckily, the dive industry is a small industry. So you get to, even if you haven't been to a place, there's people there that you have connections with. Yeah. Maybe somebody that used to work with me in another place. Yeah. So there's always a good professional courtesy as far as that goes. Yeah. Certain locations, I just bring all my equipment I rent tanks and then I go diving. I rent a car and I can drive, and I can dive. Yeah. So it all depends on the location.
Here you do a lot of shore
I
diving.
do, basically all shore diving.
Does it get like I assume that 90% of the student dives you're doing are right here
Yeah.
at the Black Rock.
Yeah.
Does that get boring?
No, I mean the ocean has got one of those things. I mean the dive site is the same, but marine life changes throughout the time. Yeah, throughout the year. Like certain times I'll have eagle rays will come in during the summertime. During the winter time, you get the whales. Out there. So things change throughout. Yeah, so it's always good. Yeah,
So you can actually see the whales when you're doing
I
a
have
shore
seen
dive.
whales out here. Yeah, in
Wow.
30 feet of water. Yeah, which is fantastic.
30 foot of whale and 30 foot
Yeah,
of water.
60 foot of whale in 30 feet of water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Okay, so because this is a podcast about design, and one of the main things of design is problem solving.
Yeah.
I'm curious, what kinds of problem solving do you have to deal with on a daily basis?
Oh, it's all kinds. I mean, you have, first of all, it's a very personal industry. You have to deal with different people, different backgrounds, okay, different perspective of what they're getting out of diving, especially beginner divers. Yeah, somebody might be excited about it, somebody might be very nervous about it. You have to be able to deal with, the different personalities, one way. Equipment related problems. Yeah, you have to deal with all the equipment, you have to be on top of all that. And then, of course, environment. You never know what the ocean's going to give you. So you just have to basically prepare for what, is there at the moment. Yeah.
When you're doing the open water coursework, one of the things that they say is, at the end of the day, it's up to you if you want to dive that day.
Yeah.
Like if you're not comfortable with the conditions, or if you're feeling that you might have congestion, don't dive, is what the coursework says.
Yep.
Now, as an instructor who might have customers with expectations of
Yeah.
like, I've signed up for a dive today, if you have a little bit of congestion,
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can, if I'm the one who was, I never get really, conditions that I can't dive. I learn how to deal with, if I have a little cold, I treat it ahead of time. I don't, get myself all, blocked up that I can't go diving. I never had ear problems either. A lot of dive instructors do have ear problems throughout the years. I never had that, so lucky there. But no, I mean, I can go diving. If I cannot go diving, I mean, I'm dealing with people's safety. So, if I cannot be there 100%, either we get somebody else to come in or the dive doesn't go out.
speaking of ear problems, I don't normally have much trouble with equalizing. So that's, as you're going down, you have to add pressure behind your eardrum,
Yeah.
essentially. And then as you're coming up, you have to somehow let that pressure come out. And one of the reasons why they say don't dive if you have a sinus congestion or a cold is that airway could become blocked.
Yep, it can become blocked. It may be really difficult to, get any more air in there. Yeah, which is basically what you need to do. You got to keep adding air the deeper you go as air compresses. So, if you're unable to, you can't force it. That's one of those things that's, your body telling you, hey, you shouldn't be in the water today.
Now, I went on a 2-tank dive yesterday, and on the second dive, there was an issue halfway through. Sorry, on the. Try to remember. Okay, so on the second dive, there was an issue that caused me to have to surface.
Yeah.
Went back down. That wasn't really an issue. But then when we were after the safety stop, so after really the third dive,
Yeah.
My son dropped his goggles, and they landed at about 15 feet, and I had to swim down to get them. But I had a hard time equalizing on that
yeah.
one, and I don't. It was like no matter what I was doing,
It
the
doesn't
air didn't want
clear.
to go.
Yeah, yeah.
So what's up with that? Is there something with like subsequent dives that makes it harder to
No, I mean,
equalize?
it just changes throughout. I mean, like sometimes, like you can have, like no problem and you do your first dive, yeah. And then you come back up, second dive you go out and your ears may give you problems, But it's just basically dealing with the problem the proper way. Never push it, yeah. If you cannot equalize, you abort the dive. Yeah, but you can give it a few times. Try and just. Sometimes it's easier just to kind of level yourself. Don't push it too much. Just give it time. The ears will clear out eventually. Yeah. Of course, swimming fast down never helps.
Right. So I think when I was trying to catch those goggles that
Yeah.
were sinking, I was probably
Yeah. Once you start
descending
going a little
fairly
bit too fast,
fast.
yeah.
What's your interior state while you're diving?
Oh, well, when I'm underwater, I'm meditating. Yeah, I'm in my zen, like level. Yeah, when I'm underwater. Of course, I'm still, 110% aware of everything that's going on. Like all my senses, like get basically, more in tune with everything because I have to, watch out for people.
Yeah.
That's when I'm leading dives. When I'm on my own, I'm completely, like meditating underwater. You that breathing, throughout for a good 45 minutes of time. Yeah, it has wonderful effects. Yeah,
I started to have this it's I dived I got a dive master certification, and at that
Yeah.
time I did a lot of dives.
yeah.
But in the last few years, I'm really lucky if I can dive do one dive trip
One,
a year basically. And the first couple dives you kind of forget.
Yeah, you kind of forget. Yeah, it's like,
You hit the water and you're like, oh wait, which button
Yeah.
is the deflator and which
know?
one's the inflator?
Well, we always say it's like riding a bike. So the first, like dive or two, you may not feel completely there, but things do come back. The training takes over. Yeah.
So, so one thing I definitely felt, and then I was like, oh, I guess I felt this before, but I forgot about this completely.
Yeah.
And this isn't something that they talk about in the dive literature in that I've seen.
Yeah.
Is if you have your if you've got some decent buoyancy control, if you're weighted correctly
Yeah.
and you're relaxed,
hmm
you can kind of control a lot of your buoyancy just through breathing.
Well, that's what you do. I mean,
Yeah.
that's part of the beginner buoyancy skill and the open water level.
But what they don't
know?
tell you, they're like, yeah,
Yeah.
you should be able to do that. But what
Yeah.
they don't tell you is the subjective feeling of that.
Yeah.
So objectively, they're like, this is good buoyancy control.
Yeah.
But I found the interior state when you're doing that is freedom.
Mhm.
It's just very relaxing that that you're like, oh, I need to be there.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm there without really exerting effort.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, that's part of the, like the main, keys of, training anyway, like to stay relaxed, breathe slow, move slow, let your buoyancy control, be basically, done with your breathing. Yeah. You're breathing in, you're breathing out. Yeah. The buoyancy control device, the jacket, is only to provide certain buoyancy. At the surface, yeah, it provides all the buoyancy. But underwater, your lungs is what provides the buoyancy. Yeah.
Do you, as you're descending, do you add air to your BC normally?
I do have to because I'm usually overweighted when I'm diving with people.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I carry extra weight all the time. Yeah. If I'm just diving on my own, I don't need much weight. I don't need to add much air underwater.
So the problem in my dive yesterday, my son got a new wetsuit.
Yeah.
I mean, rented a new wetsuit. It was a 7 millimeter long.
Oh yeah, so
And we increased the weight,
yeah,
but not really enough.
not enough. Yeah,
So, once he got past the first 10 feet, no problems.
yeah.
But
Once it was coming back up, yeah, it was just
yeah.
shooting up. Yeah,
And I was kind of at a perfect weighting for myself.
yeah.
So I didn't have enough weight to actually pull him back
Give him,
down.
yeah. So yeah, you try to get him, and then all of a sudden, like even a 10-year-old boy can still pull you up.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you don't have enough weight on you.
So it's probably a lesson to be learned in there somewhere. I don't know. I don't know what
It's
it
always good
is.
to be overly, weighted. Yeah, not all the time, but sometimes it's better.
So it's a little weird for me to check, but
I've had that underwater.
oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
with your-
When I thought I had like something fantastic swim by, and you think you hit record, and actually you hit stop because the camera had been recording the
yeah.
whole time before.
yeah, I've done that.
Yeah.
Not necessarily with diving, but
Oh yeah.
yeah.
So you don't get a second chance in diving. Once that chance is there, and you get the marine life, in the perfect position, it's hard to get it again. Yeah.
You don't do much underwater photography anymore?
Not anymore. I mean, I do still a little bit, but not as as part of my income. Yeah,
Okay.
as I did before.
So before you're doing it commercially.
No, I was basically teaching a lot of photography courses, teaching a lot of videography courses, uh, recording and taking pictures of students and people on the water, creating video edits for them. Yeah, a lot of promotional videos. Yeah, for tourism, for dive shops and stuff like that. Yeah,
Okay.
and then just for my own fun, producing my own little underwater documentaries. Yeah,
When my dad first started doing underwater videography, he would buy these ceramic housings,
yeah.
and now he just brings a GoPro.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Well, I mean, I used to shoot. Yeah, this is back in the mid 2000s. Yeah, when I got into videography, I had basically a clear Ica housing with a Sony semi-professional camera. Yeah, the whole rig was probably about you know back then in 2005, maybe still like $12,000 with my lights and everything else. Yeah, I still have the camera. Yeah, but my GoPro, the quality of the GoPro now is better than that of state of the art cameras 10 years ago. Yeah, so like yeah, a GoPro takes fantastic footage. Yeah,
Is that something that you carry on you often or not?
not much. When I'm with certified divers, I may have it. When I'm with student divers, I never ever have a camera with me. Yeah, but with certified divers, yeah, I may take the camera sometimes. Yeah,
So
you
what
know.
are some of the scariest things you see certified divers do?
Mhm.
And what are some of the scariest things you see student divers do?
Well, I mean, they're probably the same. I mean, sometimes student divers are better than certified divers. You never know. Like they're how relaxed they are and the comfort level. But yeah, getting themselves into a dangerous position. That's the worst part because I mean, our job is to provide logistics and how to safely enter, how to safely exit the water, which is usually your that's where most accidents happen. Most accidents in diving happen at the surface or happen getting in and out of the boat or in and out from shore. Yeah, underwater. Once you're underwater, as usually things can be prevented. Yeah, but it's yeah, people putting in the position that they didn't pay attention. They think they know better. Yeah, and they omit following like recommendations as far as safety, and then they put themselves into a position that you don't want to be in.
Have you ever seen people get decompression sickness?
No, never, never had. I mean, I worked at a place a long time ago that we actually had a recompression chamber at the resort. So yes, I dealt with it. I got trained as a like a neurological examiner. Okay, for decompression sickness. I was getting trained to be an assistant. Okay, during recompression on the chamber. Yeah, so I learned all that. I've seen some like horrible like stuff. Yeah, not from recreational divers. Mostly, I used to work with lobster divers in the Caribbean, and when you know what that happens, like you don't eat lobster no more
Oh yeah.
because oh yeah, these guys are like they're killing themselves. Yeah, going diving, they take a tank, they have no training whatsoever. They're doing very deep dives back to back to back because then the more lobster they get, the better money they make. So they omit all safety aspects of it, and they get themselves into a position in which they're bent, they're out away from any medical help. By the time they actually come to the chamber, they're in a real bad state.
So the recreational dive guidelines are extremely conservative,
Yes,
right?
they are very conservative. Yeah.
So is that, I guess, why you don't see,
Well, I
why
mean,
you haven't seen?
you can still have. I mean, the thing is that if you stay within the guidelines, well, we always say, like what's the primary reasons divers get bent, okay, they get decompression sickness. It's usually diver error, like 90% of the time. As long as you stay within your depth limits, time limits, like follow all the rules that you learn throughout the training, okay, you're in a very safe place. Yeah, diving can be extremely safe. It's when you push the limits, yeah, or your physical effort is too much, yeah, then that's when you can get into trouble and you're playing with, yeah, a very serious, injury.
When you're leading a group of divers and you're in the front,
Hmm.
how do you keep an eye on the last person
I got
on?
ice in the back of my head.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I turn around. Yeah, I know where everybody is. Yeah, at all times. Yeah. Otherwise, like I don't just take off. I mean, that can happen. Some people can take off. Some people can swim away from me. Yeah, but I know how to locate them. I know how to keep them all together. I make it interesting. I make them feel like they want to follow me because I know where things are. Yeah. So if I'm more interactive with them underwater, they feel more of the need to stay with you.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's all, like, I'm not just showing stuff, like to, like show you stuff. I'm showing you stuff to keep you, like engaged with me underwater and keep you close, at a safe distance. Yeah.
Have you ever dove Lanai? Is that what it's called?
Yeah. The night. Yeah.
We did the Cathedral 2
Yes.
yesterday.
Yeah.
That was fantastic.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Beautiful. The black coral tree that hangs down, from the top. Yeah, it's beautiful. I love the going in and out. I love topography diving. Yeah, like it gives you more of a sense of, like weightlessness, when you have, like a visual reference around you. Yeah, so I love that space. Yeah. I used to work, that's what I started working when I got to Maui.
Okay.
When I first got to Maui, yeah, I used to work the boats going out to Lanai. So I dove Lanai every day.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, what's the best dive you've seen in Hawaii?
In Hawaii,
Yeah.
I'll say probably the diving off of Niihau, which is the northern island past Kauai. Yeah, there's fantastic diving, beautiful, very untouched. The topography is fantastic. It's very deep water, very clear water, and a lot of marine life out there. Yeah, so I'll probably say that's the best diving in the whole of the state of Hawaii.
Wow. What would you say kind of makes diving different from country to country or site to site?
Yeah, from like one location. I mean, it's fantastic. Like even you can talk about the same location. You can say like how different this dive site is to the dive site that's 1 mile south on the coastline. There's a difference there. Once you start dealing with different oceans, yeah, different marine life, that's what makes it interesting. You get to go to if you're working in the Pacific Ocean, yeah, here in Hawaii, 25% of the marine life endemic to Hawaii. Only place in the world that you will find these, animals. Yeah, you go somewhere else, okay, you may find, organisms, okay, that only live there in that spot. Yeah. So diving is, yeah, like ecosystems of underwater. Yeah, they're quite complex. Yeah, they're quite complex. They're quite varied, from one location to another one. Yeah.
One of my favorite things to see diving is coral,
Yes.
but I haven't seen a lot of. I haven't done a lot of dives with beautiful coral.
Yeah.
It seems to, and you hear a lot in the news about like coral bleaching and
Yeah,
such.
well,
So, do you think this is part of the reason why, or is it?
Well, I mean, there's places that still have really good coral. I mean, um, having protected marine areas helps a lot. Yeah, the biggest threat to coral, yeah, that is, is a real threat. I've seen it in my lifetime. I don't know what corals look like, 30 years ago, and I know what they look like now because, it's human interaction. Yeah, it's human interaction, like runoff from, like building to, too much at a, a certain location. Yeah. Bad sunscreen on people. Yeah, not putting the reef safe like chemicals on you. Yeah, just touching, just like not like dropping anchor down, standing on the coral, touching stuff. Okay, so, like those things can be avoided, and coral could be healthier. Now, global warming. Yeah, like this is it's a threat. Okay, and corals, when the temperature increases beyond their comfort level, corals die and corals bleach. Yeah, that's why like now certain areas of the world, 50% of the coral population has died in the last 20 years. Yeah, because temperatures are increasing every year. Yeah, it doesn't take much.
So, do you have any places that are on like a checklist or bucket
On
list
a
of?
bucket list to places I still need to see. Oh yeah, plenty. Yeah, I love to go and dive the Sea of Cortez, Baja California. uh, French Polynesia, many places out there. Galapagos Islands. Yeah.
Is it possible to even dive at the Galapagos?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's some of the best diving in the world. Yeah. You have also Guadeloupe Island. of a Mexican island off of the Baja Peninsula. Also, really, the place with the great white sharks. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. South Africa. Yeah, you got like the sardine run in South Africa. Yeah, that's one of the best shows in the world. Yeah, like schools of sardines come in, and then all ocean hunters gather in the area in vast numbers. So that's on the bucket list for sure.
so if you do any of those dives, which of your own equipment would you bring, and what stuff would you just rent when you got there?
I mean, if I was doing those dives, I would be going there to dive a lot. Yeah, I wouldn't do one dive. If I was there, I'll probably be doing a week of diving or more. In which case, I will bring all my equipment. Yeah, I wouldn't have anything rental.
All
Yeah.
right. Right.
Now, if I go, like diving somewhere else, okay, and I'm only doing maybe one day of diving, I won't bother taking the equipment. I'll get a rental gear and I'll go diving. I bring my mask. I bring my dive computer. Yeah, I bring the mouthpiece to my regulator,
Uh huh.
and that's about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm here with my parents, and we got a lot of equipment with us. Like
Yeah.
each person has their stuff, and it adds up,
It adds up. Yeah,
you know.
it's heavy. Yeah.
And airlines these days have been more and more restrictive in terms of luggage weight and
Yep.
check-ins and so on. So I always think that, like, I was looking at some fins the other day,
Mhm.
and some of the ones I thought looked cool were way too heavy. I was like,
Yeah.
I wouldn't get these just because of what they would do to my luggage weight.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I mean, scuba manufacturers are, they do have a range for like more like travel friendly stuff. Less weight, like more compact. You can pack it a little easier. Yeah, but it may not be what's best suitable for you. Yeah, so sometimes you have to give up a little comfort to, to have, like more, easily to travel with. Yeah. I mean, my fins, I can travel with them.
Cannot.
No.
Yeah.
Is
You
it-
have a
is it-
very. Let me
Yeah.
grab those.
Yeah. They're just a little big.
Those are so-called skin diving.
They're free
fins,
free diving
diving
fins, yeah.
fins. What's kind of the advantage of those versus what someone might
Versus
typical
a
wear?
regular, like shorter blade fin. Well, when it comes down to, okay, comfort. Yeah, they're very easy. Your legs don't get tired, okay, because you have
Which ones are more comfortable?
the free diving fins. I find, personally, they're more comfortable for, like extended diving. When I'm doing, 3-4 dives a day, yeah, like I feel less, like foot strain from those than I do from shorter fins.
Because one
Yeah.
kick gives you more.
One kick gives me more. I don't have to put too more power to the kick, and then mostly, okay, what I wear it for is safety. If I get to be in a position that I need to assist somebody, tow them at the surface, fight strong currents or whatever else, I have more power to my kick than with a shorter fin.
The fins I got, I guess it was 19 years ago now. They had just come out at the time.
Yeah.
They were by Scuba Pro, but they were these split fin,
Yeah.
kind of very soft.
Yeah.
And they advertised them as giving you 30% more air, more energy efficient.
Energy efficient. Yep.
However, I found them to be rubbish when it came to
Actually, moving underwater.
yeah, like if you had to go against a current or if you had to drag another person,
Yeah.
like for rescue diver training, they were
They're not good.
rubbish.
Yeah. You need. I mean, if you're dealing with, like having to kick and have responsive fin. I mean, personal preference, of course. Some instructors, they like what they like, yeah. But personal preference, I prefer a stiffer blade that provides more, power. Yeah.
Did you ever dive with those Navy SEAL ones that are kind of upside down?
Yeah, the little, force fins that I've tried it before. Like, I mean, they reduce foot fatigue also, yeah. But I don't like them.
You didn't like them?
No.
I don't. I never have seen a place that actually carries them.
Yeah. I don't think I've seen. I mean, they were quite expensive, also. Yeah, I've
yeah,
never
they
seen a
were.
place having them as rental units. Yeah, people. I don't think the look of them. People wouldn't, like really know. I think you have to use those fins. You have to really know how to kick properly. which is a problem for a lot of beginner divers. They don't know how to, properly use a kicking technique.
Mhm.
Yeah, so they're less forgiving, those fins, I'll say. Yeah.
When I went through the Padi course work with my son, the entire first section
Mm-hmm.
is just kind of a sales pitch
Yeah.
for diving.
Yeah.
There's like nothing, no useful information in there. It's just
Yeah.
trying to get you amped up and excited
Yeah.
about diving.
The introductory to the course, yeah, it's,
Yeah.
about you doing the course and what else comes next.
Yeah. And
Oh,
I thought that was kind of lame,
yeah.
but I got to do that right now.
Yeah.
If someone was curious about diving, like what would you say to them what would you say to somebody listening to this that would pique their interest in diving more?
I mean, if you're interested, I mean, the one thing, if you have an interest in what diving can, open up for you, you want to experience what it feels like to actually breathe underwater. It's a fantastic sensation, yeah. Is to give it a try, like anything else. If you think you may have something that may, that you may get some enjoyment out of it, give it a try. If you do enjoy it, my God, I mean, it can open up a whole world to you. I mean, part of my job, the rewarding aspect of my job of teaching, yeah. Because after 20 years of teaching, I'm not tired of teaching. I still love teaching. I still love, like bringing people into diving because it changes you in a way. It changes you. We are the 1% of people that get to see what's under the water and how the ocean is acting. To everybody else, it's just, they see the surface and that's where it all stops. Yeah. And, 70% of our planet is water. We depend on the ocean a lot. Yeah. So divers are, one of those, that we get to see what damage humans can do to the oceans and then we can maybe help out in a certain way. Even if I change the perception of one person, you know, that's rewarding enough for me.
How do you feel about commercial fishing?
Yeah, it needs to be, like anything else, it needs to be regulated. It needs to be regulated, because we are decimating the oceans and at an alarming rate. Alarming rate. Yeah, it's not even, like if it's happening, it is happening. It's just how many more years do we have of healthy oceans?
Hmm.
Yeah, because I mean the commercial fishing, yeah, it's just we're yeah taking everything out.
People like sushi
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah. Well, there's sustainable ways of doing it, and then the thing is that it has been proven there's sustainable ways of doing it. Okay, it just takes some involvement from countries, yeah, and governments to regulate these things. Yeah, like it can be certain individuals that may want to change certain things, but when it comes down to is regulations and laws. Yeah, especially when you're dealing with international waters where there is no law. Yeah, it's a free for all for anybody to go and get things out. Yeah, so they gotta regulate things. Okay, there's enough like places in the world that they have like basically gone into more like safer ways of catching fish, avoiding the bycatch that like that off the commercial diving activities that happen, and the oceans can replenish themselves. Yeah, the oceans they know what to do. It just takes us, like taking a little step back and not taking more than what we then is providing. That is providing.
I guess I got two follow up questions related to this topic. It seems that Hawaii's probably fairly serious in terms of protecting its reefs and fish populations because of tourism. No, not so
No, no,
much.
not so much. Yeah, there could be much more. Like at least in Maui County, in all the state of Hawaii, can be a lot more done towards that. That goal. Yeah. I mean, us, the dive professionals on this island. I mean, we're trying to like get certain regulations to pass. But it's difficult. I mean, we feel like we have no saying. The little man doesn't. His government has to step up and like do something. Yeah, yeah. There could be more done on these islands. Yeah.
I was told that you're not allowed to jump into the water within 150 meters of dolphins.
Yeah, whales.
Yeah.
Whales, yeah, whales are protected. Yeah, humpback whales are protected in these waters. Yeah, you cannot enter the water or approach them in any way. If you're on a boat, okay, you have to kill engines. You cannot approach, closer to certain, distance. Yeah, and it's, they, at least, that they're, more on it. Okay, that, like people don't do that much. Yeah. But then it's the same thing with turtles. Yeah, when turtles are at the surface, turtles are coming onto the beach. Okay, they need a certain, like certain distance, to make them, not feel threatened. Yeah, everybody should know about it. It's not like, like, oh, I just didn't know that I wasn't supposed to touch turtles, but it happens.
Like if I was on a beach and I saw a turtle
Yeah,
and no one was around
yeah,
and there was no laws, I
yeah,
would want to touch that turtle.
yeah. But it comes down to, like, I mean, it's wildlife. Yeah, you should always, respect it, and part of respect of wildlife is have no interaction with it. You want to be an observer, but you don't want to, like interact with it in any way. You never know what bacteria you may have in your hands that, it doesn't, sit well with them. Yeah,
But sometimes, in the case of like fishing line being on a turtle, you would
yeah,
actually step
yeah,
in there and
yeah.
interact with it, right?
I had it, 3 days ago. Yeah, and she actually just stopped so I can help her. Yeah, she just came down on the water. She swam right next to us. Yeah, I held on to her in a safe way. Yeah, and I removed the hook. Yeah, and she let me do it. Yeah, because I mean, fish, it's actually a fish, and marine life and all this stuff, they can sense sometimes that, like we can help them
Yeah.
in a certain way. It's not the first time I've had manta rays, with fishing lines attached to them, come out, and slow down so we can, provide assistance to them. Yeah. So, yeah, it's fantastic what the marine life can do.
What do you one thing I'm kind of interested in some weird way is interspecies communication or interspecies friendship.
Yeah.
Sometimes you see viral videos on the internet of like a dog and a cheetah that grew up together, and
Yeah.
or a chicken that thinks a girl's its mom, or all these kind of interspecies confusions or friendships. I find interesting in some way. Um, but when you're looking out like in, if you put yourself in a wild situation,
Yeah.
for most of the animals there, we're essentially apex predator,
Yeah.
right?
Some of them. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, uh, even though you as a diver may have no ill intention, right?
Hmm.
I don't know. I got pretty close to a school of fish yesterday,
Yeah.
and I kind of felt it was cool that they weren't being more evasive.
Yeah.
They weren't trying to get far away from me. They were just
Yeah.
kind of
Just
okay with me being
doing
there.
the thing. Yeah.
In what ways do you think, like in which situations, or just the fish hang out with you versus avoid you?
No, I mean, certain places is for the wrong reasons. Like, I mean, fish feeding, yeah, which was quite popular years ago. Now it's not. I mean, this location where we're at right now, 20 years ago, they will sell fish food to take out there to feed the fish. So that's why fish all of a sudden they act differently towards, people because they relate, people with food. And that's all it takes. Once, the marine environment or, you know, wildlife, basically puts food and humans together, then it's not a good combination. We need to not disturb, okay, their natural behavior. So that disturbance, okay, could create like negative things. Yeah, which people think, oh, fish are so friendly. It's not in a good way that they're friendly. Yeah, they're friendly because maybe somebody was feeding them. Yeah, which shouldn't happen because now we know that like interrupting the natural behavior is not good for like an aquatic ecosystem.
Probably the
Yeah.
food that people feed them isn't
And it's
exactly
exactly it's
the
not,
healthiest food for them
yeah.
either. Anything you'd like to bring up as like a last topic? Anything you think would be interesting?
I mean, to anybody that's listening, like you'll be like, It's amazing what a little something that we can do can have a great effect over other things. We think we may not be doing much, yeah, but any little thing that we do to help the environment that we live in, yeah, can have like great consequences. It can start like the way you change and look at things can make somebody else change the way they look at things, and then that can basically domino effect into like better ways of doing things. Yeah, like not touching coral, not playing with marine life. Not the sunscreen. We're trying to make sunscreen in Maui. Like illegal to have chemical sunscreens over here. Yeah, all basically natural stuff, zinc oxide, titanium dioxide, the only ingredients in sunscreen that are not detrimental to a coral reef system. Yeah, so any spray bottles that you're using and going into the ocean, we are killing the oceans. Yeah, so yeah, that was one thing. Yeah,
I saw that this hotel has free natural
yeah,
sunscreen
we got free
dispensers,
natural
which is
sunscreen.
pretty cool. Makes you smell like a power bar,
Yeah, but yeah,
like a
no.
protein bar.
Sometimes the coconut smell, is not the best thing to put on. Yeah,
I didn't mind it, but it was definitely not a sunscreen smell.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not what I'm
yeah. What you
used
mentioned,
to
yeah,
smelling.
yeah, yeah. It doesn't smell good. It's
Smell
really
kind
thick.
of nutty,
Yeah,
kind of a brown nutty.
yeah. Sometimes the best thing is like protection. Yeah, like wear like a rash guard, wear a big hat.
I don't I don't really enjoy putting sunscreen on my body anyway, so I've
No.
been trying to cover up, but
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, you can put the other sunscreen is okay as long as you don't go in the ocean. Yeah, you want to put other sunscreen, go in the pool. That's fine. You're not really gonna damage anything.
yeah.
But if you are, like basically going into an environment that's quite fragile, yeah, and under a lot of stress as it is, yeah, we don't want to, make it easier, okay, for that environment to collapse. Yeah, we want to, like do our part and, like don't introduce more chemicals to the water. Yeah, one thing. Yeah.
Um, you're mentioning earlier how governments need to get involved in the protection of certain fish and
Yep.
ocean health issues. How likely do you think how likely do you think that positive actions would end up being taken by whatever
Man.
world governments?
Yeah, I mean, it changes. I mean, it's not as good as it could be.
Have you seen
Yeah.
any countries passing laws that were
I've seen.
beneficial?
I worked in locations in which like the certain areas were deemed a marine park, and it's amazing in that in less than 10 years you could see changes. You can see changes. You can like if you invest in an area, you invest most important education. Yeah, you invest in education, the young generation. Okay, like we have set really bad examples for our children, through the years. But if we start, like us changing our behavior, teaching them to, like to respect certain things more, like, and that could, like I said, it can, like change things, like creating marine protected areas. Okay, very important. The same way that having like protected land areas. Yeah, that are sometimes easier to I don't know to change laws when it comes to that because people are more aware of it. Yeah, the ocean because people don't really know what's going on down there because most people don't go under the water. Yeah, they don't know exactly the impact that we have in the ocean. Yeah, it's harder. It's more difficult, but it can happen. I mean, all you need to do is change certain aspects. Like don't let people fish, don't let people collect like things in a certain like specific area, and the biomass increase in the water. Yeah, like I mean the ocean can heal itself. It just needs us to step back and let it do its thing.
Most of the big commercial fishing though is like in deep waters
Yeah.
where people I mean governments aren't they more often turning reef areas into protected
Yeah, I mean
zones, but not like
that's
the
one area. Yeah, but in international waters, it's a very fine line because no country has like any like rule over international waters. So what
China
happens is,
claims the rule over it.
yeah, I mean, when you get, like Asian, like fisheries, like coming down into, like I used to work in really remote island of Costa Rica called Cocos Island. Yeah, and the shark populations in the oceans are being decimated at an alarming rate. Yeah, over 100 million sharks are killed per year to support the shark fin trade that they use to make soup in China. Yeah, so you have these people, like this, like Chinese, Taiwanese boats coming in to Costa Rica, dropping miles and miles of long, lines with hooks, and catching shark, and other and whatever else stuff, just so they can cut the fins and throw the rest of the shark into the water. Yeah, so like, yeah, that's it's pretty bad. We saved the whales, yeah, because the whales were cute. Yeah, nobody likes sharks, but sharks are more important than whales to the health of the oceans. Without the apex predator that hasn't been changed in 4 million years, now in the last 2 decades we've decimated them to like a fraction of the original numbers. It's having big repercussions in the oceans. Yeah,
The
but most people think a good shark is a dead shark. Yeah, and like that's is such a like incidents may happen as in anything else. Incidents may happen, but it's not that the fear of like, oh, I'm gonna go in the water and a shark's gonna eat me. Yeah, which is the part of the like our society has taught us that the effect that one movie can have.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I always feel weird when I see a shark fin soup restaurant in
Yeah.
Asia.
Yeah,
You know, I don't actually know what I could do in that,
yeah,
to make a difference in that specific case. But I always like, oh, well, a whole restaurant dedicated to that. What a shame.
Yeah.
But
yeah. The best thing you can do is don't consume it, and tell other people what the reality is. Yeah. People don't know that the sharks populations are being decimated and at the rate that they are being decimated. Yeah, because nobody really wants to do much about sharks. Yeah, but we need to. Without the sharks, there's gonna be an imbalance in the marine life, and it can,
aren't we
basically
fishing all of the shark's food anyways?
well, yeah, but it's not all of it. I mean, no, the ocean needs a balance. That's what like the nature is wonderful, and the way it's created it should be like try to keep that way. But when you have certain species, especially the apex predator in the water, being basically decimated, then there will be some ill effects to it. Yeah. So yeah, like don't fear sharks. Yeah.
Don't fear sharks.
Don't fear sharks. Sharks are not out to get you. Yeah. Yeah. Count yourself lucky if you get to, like see one in the water because they're majestic creatures.
What's your favorite shark you've seen in the water?
In the water?
Yeah.
I like whale sharks. I like whale sharks. Something exciting about seeing something the size of a bus underwater. Yeah. It makes you feel very small.
I've always wanted to see a whale shark in the water. I've only seen one at the Osaka Aquarium.
Yeah.
But I've,
Yeah, just to be able to jump off the boat or be underwater and have a whale shark swim by. Yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah.
I saw some photos in dive magazines or whatever where.
Yeah. They're just right there.
Yeah.
The friendly giants of the ocean. Yeah. Yeah, they're beautiful.
Well,
All right.
Jose, thank you for taking the time to be with us today.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
If you'd like to come dive with Jose, he's currently
Yeah.
at Maui 5-star
Scuba
at
Black Rock at the Sheraton Maui.
in Maui, Hawaii.
Yeah. You will love it.
Do you have any Instagram?
I do, yeah. Yeah.
What's your handle?
It's all for reef.
All for Reef.
All
Is that
for Reef.
FOR or the number 4?
Number 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
All for Reef.
Yes.
REEF.
REF. Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Yeah. My pleasure. Yeah.